We are recording back at it again. We never really did come up with a catchphrase, but that seems to be our thing, like back at it again,
Yeah.
because we seem to take little hiatuses and some time off from things. And put
I've
them
noticed
out
that's how I do a lot of my videos. I started like I'm back at it again with the video.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It rolls off the tongue.
It does, and it seemingly, I'm just gonna call it. I think
Yeah.
it's worked for us for what we've done. So, well, with our back at it again, we hooked up this morning, got a quick little run in. I don't know if quick is really the right term. You could probably go quicker, but
Let's just say steady.
steady.
Yeah.
Had a little episode talk while we were going. Like we were like, man, we talked about getting a GoPro so we can just have that with us while we're recording and
Yeah.
doing things.
Might as
It'd be
well.
kind of cool. Hey, Budro, what you doing? Hey, don't land on the laptop over there. That's Daddy's work spot. All right. So, a special guest as always like to come on in, even when we give him stuff to do for a minute. But I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, so yeah, we just like I said got done running. We talked about some different things. Figured we could have recorded later, but we're like, while we're here, let's just go and record, get that on in. As I love this boy, huh? Go ahead and get that recording on in, and then we'll take care of some stuff. I'll get everything uploaded. So. Go ahead and hit what you were talking about with your technical difficulties, and then as you can see, I'm writing essays and papers and such, and I just thought it was like
Perfect timing.
yeah.
So yeah, yesterday I was recording a video. I had to record it like 5 times, I think it was, and I just kept having issues with it freezing. But eventually I got one take done, and that's the one I'm gonna upload probably later today. And sadly though, as I was driving down the road, I was like, man, I left out one part that I really wanted to throw in there. And the video, you'll see it's about making goals, and it's kind of like a piggyback off an older video we made. And it's just I referred to a clinical psychologist that I was listening to a lecture of his the other day, and he was talking about how he gets his master students and his PhD students and all this stuff. He'll tell them towards the beginning, he's like, go ahead and write a terrible first draft of your thesis. Partially because you can get it out of the way, that you have somewhere to, that you've gotten it out of the way at least. But the main reason is because you've got something to start with. Even if it's absolutely horrendous, you're not going to turn this in as the final draft, obviously.
Unless you're me.
Yeah, unless you're him.
Which God, I thus my first paper on this one thing I turned in. I didn't read a rubric or anything.
Yeah.
I read it. I ignored it. So this time I printed it out and I've highlighted some stuff I got to do, and or just other reflection papers. I'm notoriously horrible about turning that first draft in. Like I just get so frustrated and I can't think anymore, and it's just not my thing, which is an excuse. So let me stop right there and but I need to. So, but I loved. I mean, it was funny that you said it this morning because it's relevant in my life right now. Like with
Perfect timing.
Yeah, I mean,
didn't even realize.
No lie. Like we didn't talk anything about like papers or anything,
Yeah.
and then you're like, yo. It's like a paper. You got to write that first draft. Just put it out there, and it's got to be horrible. And I was like, dude, you're talking to me right now.
I mean, you could at least tell me before you're gonna step on my toes.
I was like, dude, seriously, like, okay.
I mean, but it's true though. Like, if you think about it, now that you've got something, I mean, you've got something to build off of. You can work around it. Add things. You can subtract things, and
Matthew,
we got
Seagraves.
What's up? What's up?
I'm gonna have to have you do this computer.
All right, I can probably do that. Oh, my stomach just growled pretty loud.
Bring us breakfast. No, I'm just kidding.
Bojangles. No,
my kids love Bojangles,
but yeah, I mean, you got to just get that first thing out of the way. So, I mean, when you think about it, that's a problem a lot of people have with therapy as well. Is when they come in there, some people just genuinely do not know what they want out of it. And same with wrestling. Same with any sport or anything in general. Like weight loss. Weight loss is a good goal. It's kind of like the word I used yesterday. It's like, for me, it was my meta goal. It's like the underlying goal of what I wanted, but it wasn't the.
But why? The question underlying, I guess the underlying question should be, like, Why weight loss? Why do I want to
No.
lose? No.
That was the thing I actually talked about. It's not the why, it's the what. And that's what I was mentioning. It's like, what is your goal? So for me, like, my meta goal is lose weight. Well, it's like,
Okay.
what
Okay,
what amount
I'm
of
with
weight?
you there.
Yeah, like, what amount of weight? For me, it was enough to make this weight at this tournament that I was going to compete at.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, well, I got there. And I achieved that goal, and then I was like, man, let's go a little bit further. And I kind of use the analogy of, when you're hiking, you have a destination, and all you got to do is, when you have that destination in mind, so you have your end goal in mind, you have a path. Like, you've already got your path, kind of laid out. But if you don't have an end goal in mind, you have a million different first steps you can take, and there's only a very narrow window of which ones are actually going to be good ones, I guess you can say.
Good ones, or maybe actually have
Beneficial.
success.
Yeah.
Like, so, okay, if
Successful
you're
ones.
using, like, your hiking thing, like we go out, because, we
Yeah.
like hiking, the family likes hiking and whatnot, but we normally, like you said, we have a goal. We want to go see this waterfall.
Yeah.
We have our goal. If we just go hiking and don't have a goal, we could end up with, I guess,
You end up lost.
you can end up lost.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, I don't mean to play devil's advocate too much, which, I like to do, but at the same time, like, maybe you find something that's really cool.
Well,
too,
and see, I alluded to that. I was like, sometimes you go down these paths and they have branching off paths going to different places.
Mhm.
So sometimes you might find something that's a better view for you, or maybe a better goal for you. For like me, my goal was to make weight for that tournament, and then it was like, well, now that I'm here, there's kind of one branching off, and it's like, let's get back down to what I was when I was like 19 years old, but in better shape, more flexible, better at, more mobile, eating better, and
Yeah, I think that's part of my goal with, like, the weight loss is just to eat better, really feel better, like, and have things hurt less and stuff like that.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
noticed, like, when I'm not taking care of myself, like, I have more back issues than when I do take care of myself. Like, like, I'm less likely to pull something or do something.
That's
But at the
exactly
same
what I
time, though, like, oh my God, I'm old now too. Like,
Yeah.
I remember one time literally throwing my back out, like, picking up a pencil, and it's like the funny story is, like, I went to get something out of my bag, and I was like, I felt it, and it just knew, and I was like, how, why, and was just angry. I was like, just angry. And then by the time I get to school, it's like tightening up and getting to a knot. So, like, by third period, I'm like rolling around in this chair, like, I'm like, somebody roll me down to the nurse. I need some medicine.
Some oxycodone, because that's the only thing that helps at that matter. No, I mean, that's how I felt. I remember
back.
my dad, like, he's he has problems with his back, obviously. I mean, obviously some of it's self-imposed, honestly, but we're not gonna get into that. Anyway, I remember I used to, like, joke with him, like, oh, you're getting old, you're becoming an old man. And I remember the first time I hurt my back, and he got his receipts on me so much, like, he made fun of me.
It's one of those things. It's just like
I'm laid on the floor. And
that back pain is like that, like,
just kill me now.
And then it's like, okay, I get it now. Like, and this is like the worst. Like, oh man. All right. So I think we're roughly 7.5 minutes in, and I think we've gone off on a couple different tangents already, which is fine because, like,
it always happens.
It always happens. But I think I just really thought it was cool that, so yesterday I posted back in town, trying to get back into the running again.
Back at it.
Back at it. All the stuff that we've kind of talked about before, like, with goal setting again. And it was just a quick post. And it was like, throwing those goals out there. Because that was one of the things we talked about goals too. Is like, you can make a goal, but, like, if you're really serious about it, like, sometimes it's hard to make yourself accountable.
Yeah.
But by saying it and posting it and doing something, and you and I both have mixed feelings about social media, good and bad. But, like, throwing it out there, say, I'm back at it again. So that way when somebody sees you, they're like, hey, you're doing it again, great. Or, like, are you still on that path? Or, what's going on with it?
I've thought more about that, and it's kind of, for me, it's like a double-edged sword, because and two, you can have a lot of support, a lot of people support you, but then also you have some people who are going to be haters. And I mean, depending on your mental state, like,
it really does. But I think in today's time, like, that double-edged sword is, heck, the life we live in now.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I mean, I don't know if there's a way to avoid that. I've been
other than just keeping it to yourself. I mean, like,
man, like, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I'm looking at just the day and times right now. I'm doing this class, and it's all about digital literacy. Okay, I don't really want to talk about the class, but I just found an irony of today's day and time, and it's talking about, like, how to do things, but it's all still old school things, but yet it's an all digital class. And, like, I'm finding myself, like, okay, I messed up the first time, but so I had to print the stuff out. Like, I'm old school. I had to print it, so it's kind of like, where are we going with things if I don't know.
That was one thing that bothered me in one of my classes. They were like, yeah, here's the code for your book, and I'm like, wait, I don't get like a physical copy of this book, like I can't like highlight or anything. They're like, oh, it's all online.
You know, people can highlight apparently on computers.
Yeah,
No,
no,
like you see
can
the
do that.
highlighter like
what you did
sitting
is like
back.
you click and then like,
No, I don't work that way.
yeah,
Like,
I need
don't.
physical
My
copies.
mind doesn't process that
Yeah.
way. So
I would get too distracted, like I because you know, usually if I'm on my computer, I'll see something.
distracted.
Like,
You know me anyway. Like
yeah.
like I've been watching this fly. Like
No, yeah, you've noticed it too. Like, yeah, I would be saying like going right across my vision. I'm just like, whoa.
oh man, something
take
like
much for me, like-
seriously flawed.
Yeah.
Like
Like I'll be reading something, I'll be on my computer, like, oh man, what language does a giraffe speak? Let me look this up. Like, and then I don't know why that pops in my head, but it does. So.
I mean,
That's why I don't do good with ebooks. Everyone's like, oh, you should get like a Kindle. I'm like, no.
I mean, I've tried, and I've read books on like the ebook.
Yeah.
I've read it on there, but that was lack of having
Yeah.
the actual, you know.
I'll tell you one thing
So-
someone turned me on to, and I haven't started it yet, but they swear by it, and it's something I really want to start trying, is Audible. The Audible books.
I've done that on a few things.
I just feel like, my thing is, I like the physical copy, that way I can go back and like write stuff down maybe. But like Jeremiah Macy, the guy that, you know,
Yeah.
the Roll Soap and Fractal BJJ and all that, he was telling me, he's
Is that
like,
his
man,
face?
he's like, what, he's like, I listen to it while I'm at work, and I'm sitting here thinking, like, two things, like, where do you work? 'Cause I mean, that's pretty interesting, because you can just, like, have the headphones
See,
in,
that's
like,
the other thing. Like for me, it's a timing thing. Like,
Yeah.
like I listen to a lot of our podcasts, like that. We talked about other ones. I listen to it in the car while
Yeah.
driving and stuff.
and that's what he was saying, too, and I was like,
but-
I listen to podcasts when I drive, so I mean,
So,
what
but
would be
it's
the
kind of like
difference?
what? But yeah, no. But I get that. But it's also then another thing of like, well, I don't know. Like I used to be in kick. Like I did listen to it for a while, and
Yeah.
I used to like run with headphones and all that kind of stuff. But then like I got to that point, like you know, we've talked about trying to like again.
Unplug.
It's unplugging a little bit. Well, but then I'm having to plug in. Yes,
Sorry,
I
I was
know.
gonna
It's
swat it.
it's driving me crazy too. So
That was probably some good views right there.
Yeah,
That was
there you go.
embarrassing.
But
I
trying to
completely
pl-
whiffed on
but
it.
like trying to plug in and unplug and
Yeah.
like the double-edged sword of society that we live in, and I'm gonna try to skew advantages before we just talk about
That's
society
actually,
the whole
when we
time.
were talking about hiking, and I was telling you about me and Eric maybe doing videos on that. Like that's one thing I love. Like I mean, I think it'd be fun to do that. One, it'd give me an excuse to go hiking more. But I'm on there. That was
Yeah,
one thing
yeah.
I was I didn't think about until literally you just said that. It's like, you know, usually when I go, I can hear your stomach
I
too.
know, like food.
Usually when I go to the mountains, it's to unplug. Like I want to get away from things. Now that I think about that, I might be worried. It's like if I'm taking stuff out there to record and all that, it's almost like
Like-
not really unplugging.
Yeah, so
It's like-
you see what I'm saying? So it's kind
Yeah.
of like it'd be cool, but it's
It's so it almost defeats the purpose. Maybe
Almost.
I don't know. We'll
but then
figure it out.
or flip it around like but now maybe you're bringing people to nature or nature to people so they can see it, so maybe more people will go unplug.
Maybe, but I don't care about other people. I care about me. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding.
No, it's not. We're selfish, horrible
Yeah.
people. We've talked about.
I mean,
it.
partially.
That's-
That's the point. I go to the woods. Is
That's
to unplug.
yeah. We've had that discussion before. Like
Yeah.
like I don't know. I think it wasn't my grandmother. Somebody else had saying, you know, the world would be a great place if it wasn't for people, right?
Like,
You know.
just give me some aliens. And
Jeez.
go.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you need to go watch something on Netflix. Before we get into actual wrestling talk, which I think that's what we need to do. We need to dedicate the first 15 minutes to just talk about random nonsense. There's a documentary on Netflix. by
Everybody
Bob
else,
Lazar.
come listen. We're gonna double tag this one. It's gonna be the subcast into the
To the
podcast
podcast, yes.
because the first couple minutes is just
That's-
non-wrestling talk. It's great for everybody right now.
This is what y'all really come to hear.
Yeah, us rant and ramble.
Just the most random thing. So I found this thing on. Well, he was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I was listening to him. And for any of y'all who grew up in like the '90s, like early 2000s, you probably remember this guy, Bob Lazar, the guy who worked at Area 51, who came out and like released a bunch of information about it, and a lot of it sounded like a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Well, recently they just released a documentary about him on Netflix, and they break it down. And like the guy who does it, the investigative journalist.
You trying to like make it so I get nothing done?
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Alright.
the point. No, so what's crazy is like
I hate
some of
you.
the stuff he talks about, like for instance, he talked about working at a place called S4 in Area 51. We didn't really know about S4 up until a couple years ago. Like no, I would say maybe like 2006 maybe. And this is like back in the 80s, 90s maybe. Then he talked about an element called Element 115, and he talked about this long ago. And that's also within the past like decade and a half, just recently got found, was Element 115. And then he talks about all this other stuff about UFO. Like he claims they worked on 9 different UFOs, and he said some of them were actually archaeological digs. He's like, and he can't tell you, he couldn't tell you everything about them. He's like, everything was compartmentalized. He's like, I had to work on what the propulsion system and like what made it go. And he talked about like the anti-gravity and all that. And he breaks it down, and then he even said one thing, and this was what makes it a little bit crazier, is that, he's like, I care nothing about UFO stories. He's like, I'm just a nut for technology. He's like, I love technology, and he's like, it's so crazy to me. He's like, and this is the reason I got out, is because, we're working with technology we don't even understand yet.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, that can be extremely dangerous. And when he did leave, and kind of he was anonymous for the longest time, when he finally came public, he talked about how the government wiped his credentials, and everyone's like, yeah, okay, buddy. Well, come to find out, one of the places he said that they claimed he never worked was a place called Los Alamos. Well, you can go back and look at some newspapers, and also the directory. He's still in one of the directories from the time he claimed to be there as a engineer/physicist. And then he's also in like a paper where he put a jet engine onto his Honda, and it says physicist at Los Alamos, or like engineer at Los Alamos, and it kind of proves some of the stuff he was talking about. And it's like, I started thinking, I was like, man, if that's the case, how much of this is actually real? So yeah, if you want to watch some crazy stuff on UFOs, go watch that. Conspiracy theory hat is on.
Yeah.
My tinfoil hat now.
Yeah, well, where is that? The one with made out of the old school spaghetti strainer, the little antenna,
Yep.
and all that kind of stuff.
Now that that's out of the way, we can talk wrestling. Now aliens are out of the way, so here we go.
All right, so we went from
Papers
to ADD,
Yeah.
to aliens, to hiking, to nature, to people,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe not all in that order.
Definitely not in that order.
No, I can't remember the order of mine.
Hunger's kicking in.
Oh God, man!
Might be the first episode where we eat and talk at the same time.
Have we never had wings while we
I
did
don't
stuff?
think
I mean,
so.
we've talked enough about wings before. Like,
I think we just posted, which I still owe you wings. We need to do that.
we do need to do that soon. So we'll figure that out. My stomach said wings.
Yeah, we mentioned wings and it went.
Yep, it did. It did. I hope that doesn't get it on the recording, but that'd be sound like really weird in the background.
No, we'll just say it's audio issues.
Yeah.
Which we can't say that now because we've literally mentioned it. So, man.
Yeah, and as those of you that do follow us and listen, we don't edit our stuff at all.
No.
So it is what it is. I know it just. Oh God!
I was thinking about bringing Cliff Bars too. I was like, we can eat one of these like post hike, and I was like,
that'd be good.
they're blueberry crisp bars or Cliff Bars, delicious.
Mm.
Yeah, my new favorite ones.
All right. So and then
Yes.
now on to food. All right. So let's get to it. 17 minutes in, perfect time. We dedicate first 15-20 minutes to sheer rambling. We're gonna call it that. Oh, that's a good name.
Rambling round.
Rambling round one.
Yeah.
All right, wrestling talk. Got a couple things to hit
Mhm.
before we get to what you want to talk about with Michigan and the double recruiting.
Yeah, I
and all
haven't
that?
even made my video on it yet.
Okay,
but I'll
so
still
do you want
talk-
to?
No, I'll still talk about it on here because it's still. I'll probably go more in depth about it,
So
and it gives you
Yeah.
somewhat devil's advocate. Because
Yeah.
honestly, like I'm torn, and I've had people tell me I'm crazy for what I think about it.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. And then we've had our. All right. So let's rewind a little bit. It's been a minute since we've actually done wrestling
Yeah.
talk. Not just on this particular episode.
Just
And I'm sure we'll go back off on another tangent here shortly. For those of you who just want to listen to random tangents, which is always fun, which is more our subcast. Anyway, how far back do we need to go?
Ooh, let's see. So
Final X stuff.
yeah, I mean
Okay.
we didn't get into.
We didn't
got
get
into- We did the first round, I think, didn't we?
Did we do the first round, or did we just watch it and then we kind of talked about it?
I think we. I can't
Alright.
remember which.
Couple quick takeaways, and let's kind of world team. I'm happy with.
Yes.
Looks great. I mean, how can we not be happy with the caliber of the guys that we have going on this team? But there are a couple things that are in question, I guess you should say. I'm good with Fix being our person. I don't know why Gilman, like they said, took that shot then, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of questionable. But anyway, that not a whole lot of controversy. Let's go to some of the different things that are still kind of up in the air.
Sorry, guys, I'm
Yanni,
looking for one thing about Michigan, but yeah, go ahead.
Yanni versus
I believe there should be a third match.
all right.
100%.
Now, quickly, why do you think it should be a third match? I mean, I know why I think, but like,
I mean, just I didn't think the points would have been warranted in that situation. As far as I mean,
I thought the original score was right with Yanni winning. My issue, and I think and I don't see how, like, I'm going to be surprised to find out what happens with this because what they're arguing is right. The brick challenge has to be within 5 seconds of what you think. They threw the brick at the end of the period and went back almost a full minute, which violates everything that said was to happen.
And that's another reason why I thought it should
So now, what's apparently the way the rules are set, because I was listening to some other podcasts on it and listening to them talk, is what will happen if it's done the way the rules are set up is like that negates that match. So they'll have to not just wrestle a third match. They can't just give that match
a second.
They'll have to wrestle a whole second match and then, if warranted, a whole third match.
Are they even talking about a possible rematch? Because I know there was for like the first few days, and then I haven't really heard anything else about it.
It's all in arbitration right now. Like they had to, like this is actual like paperwork, lawyer filed, like has to go through the steps and process.
Because I've still been seeing stuff about Zayn.
It's a form. Until otherwise, like he's got to train. Like we got to have somebody. So until otherwise, he's there now.
Which I'm okay with. I mean,
I wanted
like
Johnny to win that, but like I'm good with it. But because it's not like a whine like, oh, it was a bad call. It was a legitimate. Here's what happened. The brick got thrown. They went back a minute instead of 5 seconds. Now if it was 10 seconds, I'm like, yeah, okay, gray lines there.
It's a misapplication of the rules.
Of the rules. So the file and protest is on that. So that's why I think it's going to take a little while. I don't see how unless there's some rules that I don't understand or haven't heard about or something. I think there should be the re-wrestle. And
we should probably try to, if we can find it, we'll try to link the video maybe in the description when we put it on YouTube or something, so you guys can go back and watch it. If not, you can just go back. We'll tell you what it's Yanni versus Zayn and
match 2
Final X. Yeah, but man, Zayn in the first round.
Oh god, but those scrambles are amazing. Those scrambles are amazing.
When I saw the score, it was like 10-4 that Zayn won. I was like, oh.
No, I wasn't expecting that.
Okay.
And then that second match, like, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
so
I remember texting Quality about that.
Kind of from a greedy standpoint, I just want to see him wrestle again.
Oh, absolutely. And because I'm a Yanni fan. I mean, obviously.
Let me go be a fly on the wall and just watch that.
Speaking of flies on the wall, that's in the way.
I saw that too. Yeah. Just like there. Okay. Yeah. ADD.
What else happened? That final.
I don't know if there
Snowflake dropping the F-bomb in her interview.
Was that her or
somebody else? Her.
All right, now.
No, I trained in Iowa, man.
Look,
that was the greatest thing ever.
No, it was, and then like I actually heard like a really good rebuttal for why it shouldn't have happened, or why they should have at least bleeped it out. Okay?
Well, they cut it. They cut it from the long, and she even told, like, if you watch the full thing of it, she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, cut that out." And then basically, if you go back and look at the interview now, it's cut out. Like they don't have it in there anymore.
But no, because it was funny. So all right, so check it. So that happened. At first, I laughed about it, and I was like, "Not a big deal. Whatever. It is what it is." But then, okay, funnily enough, I went to see The Fly. No, so we went to FCA camp with the wrestling team. Yeah. And FCA has its different viewpoints on things and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Well, but they had, obviously, but it made a super good point. Take out the FCA part if you're weird about religion, whichever. But the reason why it should have been edited from the get-go or blocked out from the get-go is because if we truly want to grow the sport, which we all do with wrestling, I just thought of like a funny movie. It's like, hold still, down goes Tyler.
Sidetracked again.
Yes, headgum. But if we truly want to do that, if we want to get to the level of like this being, on national television, all that, not just on Flow, like when you watch other things, like there's a level of professionalism that has to be there for it to be someplace else. You get a mom that's new to the sport and watching.
She hears that.
And especially, like, say her daughter wants to wrestle.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the model that mom says, hey, I'm good with my daughter being that? So I thought from that aspect, I was like, ooh, they got a really good point. Like, I get it. We're wrestlers. We're kind of maybe used to certain things. Not to say that we're all vulgar people or anything like that. But, it is what it is, and it doesn't necessarily bother me to that full extent that way. But when you think about it from like the vantage point of others and new people into it and just different things like that, I'm like, there is a degree of professionalism. If we want to call these people professional athletes, when professional athletes go and do microphone talks and interviews and all that kind of stuff, there's commissions that find them
Yeah.
if they speak certain ways.
Mhm.
So that's just, again, the level of
Yeah.
professionalism. So I'm like,
So what do you think about Flow then? Because Flow's been using that hashtag LFG. They've been using that as a hashtag now,
yeah.
and everyone knows what it means. I mean, it's not like it's a secret of what it means.
No, and that's so. Obviously we both love Flow. I mean, we get to watch all their stuff, but there's certain things that Flow is able to do
Yeah.
because they're not like a network sponsored thing. They are their own company in their own right. But again, at the end of the day, though, like, I think this is one where maybe Flow might need to revisit, like, and just say, like, hey, but if this is where we're wanting to go with it, if we truly do want to grow the sport and we want new people in, like, like, there's a degree of professionalism.
Yeah,
like,
there is.
so, like, hey, maybe it's funny, but, find somebody for something, I mean,
like I said, they've cut it out. Like if you go back
Yeah,
and watch it, they've cut it
so-
completely. I mean, like it's that whole first part of the interview is just cut out, and it goes right into the question after that. Which, but like I said, she was amped up about that.
No,
It's-
but then at the same
Yeah.
time, I appreciate the passion. I
Oh, yeah.
appreciate the, like, dude, she was
Let's
amped,
look up
she was hyped.
Second Final X.
Huh?
Actually, let's look at some of the stuff that happened.
Yeah.
I wonder
So-
if I click out of this, will it?
It should just open a new tab. You can click on it and then
I
go
just
back
wanna
to
make-
it.
Okay, yeah,
See?
it's still recording. I see
Yeah.
that over there.
But
Let's go to Flow.
but yeah, so it's I do appreciate the passion,
Yeah.
the rawness and the realness of it and all that kind of stuff. So, there's all that kind of stuff there. So I don't really mind it too much there. There we go. All right. There's been a lot of pop-ups and stuff lately.
Okay. I just see something about the transgender community behind there.
Yeah, I think it's just another window. Let me see real quick here.
Yeah.
Yay! Like, and all my stuff is like logged out. I gotta log into everything now.
Oh, that's annoying.
It really is. I'm like, keep it all in.
Alright, so here we go. Yep, we gotta log back in.
All right.
But yeah, we'll kind of look over what all happened at second Final X. I mean, I remember, but at the same time, like I'm drawing a blank on a lot of things. Because I think Adam Kuhn was second one. He's world team member now for Greco,
Yeah.
which would be awesome.
Save password. We can save that one on there, so we can watch it later, or so it's actually in
It'd be under
there.
results.
But another thing.
Rutgers right there.
Yeah. So that was Rutgers. Rutgers was the first.
No,
one.
Rutgers was the first one. You're right.
Yeah.
It's Lincoln.
Lincoln was good. So I mean, I guess some of the stuff. Sarah Hybrand killed it. Oh, what'd you think of the? This was kind of a talking point of like the singlets,
The singlets?
like the rudest singlets.
Yeah.
Like what's her name? Tamara. She had the Black Panther one. Was
Yeah,
killer.
that was really cool.
Sarah had the Captain Marvel
Shit,
one.
Captain Marvel. What'd you think of? Now this is not
Snyder's
Rudolph's.
Captain America one
Love
with
that
the
one.
the Endgame one.
Yeah, love that one.
Imar with Venom.
Yeah. See, that was my favorite because I think I messaged you.
You did. You were like
the-
the artwork on it.
The
you were like-
artwork it had like Imar's face and then Venom. And I was like, ah, that's cool.
I mean, they've done a really good job with.
Yeah,
how they,
I love that
market
because
it.
like we're kind of like superhero nerds, and
Yeah.
we love that stuff. So to me, it was like a cool shout out. And then did you all like? I liked Burroughs a little bit. The
He had the military theme.
The military, yeah.
Military thing, the bomber planes.
yeah, I
all
liked that.
I liked. I
thought that was cool.
That was cool. I think that we need more of that.
Absolutely.
Whether it be Burroughs with that, with
Because what I liked
Brutus
is
doing their thing.
it didn't take away from like a traditional singlet. Like it
No,
wasn't
they
too
were
crazy.
still red and blue for the colors.
And they were traditional looking singlets, but
But
they had
they
a
added
twist.
individual element
Yeah.
to it, where all the other ones all used to be now. I don't want to step on Titan Mercury's
Yeah.
toes because they're obviously like one of the biggest sponsors for these
Yep.
senior level athletes, but all their singlets look the same.
Yeah.
Until you make the world team, you get the cool USA one. But like, I'm like, wow, do they all really wrestle for the same? But it's just like that sponsor. So I love the idea of having the different things for different people to wear with different stuff going on with them.
Yeah.
I saw it too.
I think it's cool. Like I said, like being a fan of comics and all that stuff, like that is something that stands out to me. I mean, it's just, it's kind of a cool shout out
It is.
to the fan base. I mean, and I hope they kind of release them because I might buy me a singlet just for that.
Hey, we're
Wear it to
practice.
Nogi.
Huh?
Yeah, wear it to practice. Wear it to Nogi. I'll put the shirt up under it.
Yeah, we're going straight to senior
Oh
style.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna channel the inner Kyle Snyder and we'll just go with it. So I mean, we already got Tights Tuesdays, why not?
Yeah.
So Telegraph one, his interview was emotional, really kind of cool. All right, now Jordan Burroughs, what did you think about that? Actually lost a match,
Mhm.
and then what did you think about his thing? And this is true, but we'll have it. He's never lost to the same
person
man
twice.
twice. I was like, dude, that's impressive.
He's lost to Chamizo. Didn't happen twice.
Hasn't happened twice.
Well, that's because that's what I thought. I was like,
He's
oh,
lost to Dake.
Yeah,
He
didn't
hasn't
happen twice.
He's lost to Imar now.
Not twice.
But the kicker is now that we're coming up
close.
But we're coming up also to
Close.
a time where he's gonna have to wrestle some of these people again.
Again, yeah.
It might happen. We
And
don't
it was
know.
extremely close, both matches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like he lost one and then.
No, but he
had
looked
to-
good though too.
Yeah.
So
It's not like he had to go back and, dominate his segment. No, I mean, they were both close, and I was a little nervous. I was a little bit nervous, honestly.
See,
I'll
dude.
be honest. And then Snyder looked impressive, obviously.
yeah. Now, what I was gonna, did you hear about Jordan Bros before
Before,
like weigh-ins?
almost not making weight.
Like
Be close.
I was just
I
like.
had to take off the singlet.
So did he? See, like I'd heard a bunch of stuff, and some people were like, I don't know if he ever actually did make weight, and I was
He
like,
did. I think there was a he had to take off the singlet,
because like they came back,
and
I
then they
mean,
had the towels up and all that. So I assume he had to
did he
take.
do the Daniel Cormier towel?
No. Yeah. Maybe.
For those of you
No,
just
he actually had
for
his
those of
hands
you
by his
just listening, you completely missed that because we both did it. Like when he pushed down on the towel.
So
I'm
if
like,
y'all don't know this, it was UFC 205. I think
how
when
in
he
the world did that fly?
yeah.
Like,
So it's probably because he comes from a wrestling world, and he's
He
nothing
knew.
against the MMA
He
people,
knew.
but like,
Huh?
but
Yeah.
that was good. But nothing against people in MMA. But I think it's like DC's like I've got a little bit more weigh-in knowledge than you guys. So they held a towel over DC because he was like. He was like
sucked down.
Like he was
yeah.
like what, like maybe like 5 pounds over. Goes to weigh in like an hour later, puts his hands on the towel, and makes weight just perfectly fine.
Not putting his hands on the towel.
Like,
There's
he
like the
pushed.
push down. Like we just did it again.
Yeah,
All right,
like,
so
there was
come
like
watch
a-
the YouTube
you
video
could
just
see
because it's
it.
funny. Yeah, you see the
it
towel
go
go
down.
down. It was
So,
hilarious.
Yeah, I mean,
So, but yeah, I just really found that one interesting. Now they
I
did
was a
say
little
that
amazed
he
because
was
he
was 2 pounds under earlier, and then like he rehydrated a little too much, and all
That's
the
what I'm thinking.
stuff. So,
I was thinking, I was
I was
like,
like,
wow, like
man,
you
like-
think of all people, like I could understand
I
maybe
know.
a younger guy doing that, like maybe Fix,
Yeah.
like say Fix comes.
you know,
in.
and then people were talking about it because it was kind of a big deal because they
it
were,
is a huge deal.
it's
That
huge
is the
'cause
face of.
that's wrestling, that's him, and they were all like, everybody's like, they made Pat Downey come make weight.
Yeah.
Like DT was hurting out, but they still made him come make weight. So that just shows how important the making weight of everything is.
Speaking
So
of Pat Downey, oof.
that dude's funny. Like his snaps and everything. I don't know. So I've gotten to be a little bit more of a Pat Downey fan just because he's been out there, and it's been funny to listen to him, and yeah, he's entertaining. All right, so
He
there
looks
was the
like Post
Imar.
Malone. He does.
Post Malone.
He does.
Oh
though, man.
god, I have never thought about that, but now I need to go photo merge their faces together.
Ryan Mango,
So
Greco World Team.
yeah, I'm gonna go photo merge their faces together. Oh god, we got Post Malone wrestling for the U.S. World Team. I hate you for putting that in my
It's
head.
true though.
I hate you for putting that in my head.
You're never not gonna look at them the same.
No, I'm
You're
not.
gonna look at them.
And there's only
there
one
he
Post
is.
Malone song that I like too. So
Which one?
the one that the only good one in my opinion. Like
I don't think there's any good one. That's why I don't know.
all
what you're
right,
talking
there's
about.
the one that was catchy on the radio.
The congratulations one or something.
I don't know. It's the one where and the video makes no sense. So he's riding around on a tank and with a flamethrower or something like that.
I don't listen to them that much. I'm not a big fan of them. But
No.
yeah, I'll figure it
No.
out later.
Yeah, but that's the only song because I
Yeah.
like. So now I want that to be Pat Downey's intro music. To something.
Come out on the tank too.
Huh?
Come out.
Yes,
on
and
the
a
tank.
flamethrower.
Oh, yeah.
God, that would be awesome.
I know a wrestler did that at one of the WrestleManias. Rusev, the Russian guy.
Oh, did
He came out on a tank, and I was like, I like it.
So,
Even though it was like USA versus Russia, it's still
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So, but I'm very interested to see how things go. I am, dude. As much as I can't pick against him. He keeps finding a way to do it. John Bros is the man.
Yeah.
Quasi, he's the goat.
Oh yeah,
But-
absolutely.
But I keep saying it because
They're nipping on his heels. The young lions.
good gosh, those young lions and Kyle Dake, Imar. Now here, here's the next thing that I want to see. What's going to happen is Dake, Derringer. Derringer's making jumps. You got Valencia. Like, I don't know when that wrestle off is going to happen, but like,
It's going to happen eventually.
dude, it is crazy.
Oh, I like that video. It was last year, I think they posted about it, and It was that one that Flo posted and had Christopher Walken in the background.
The lions.
Lion, yeah.
And and then the lion comes back through, and he's like,
Yeah, and it shows them, like, it showed them
everybody
kinda like-
who's boss and whatnot.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get this one.
All right.
There we go.
And it shows it showed you know, a lot of guys kind of, it looks like, you know, taking it, I don't want to say taking advantage, but, you know, getting the upper hand on Jordan and, you know, kind of taking it to him. And then it says, you know, then one day the old lion has enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just shows like Burrow's blast doubling guys.
Oh, gosh, I want to go watch that video again.
Oh yeah, no, I've
So-
got it saved. Like, I love that video, and it's
Yeah.
true though. I mean, like, you think
It
about
really
it, these young lions. They're savages right now. They're nipping on his hip.
But I'm really
but
curious
he's
as to
like,
what's gonna happen. I'm just saying it. I'm curious as to what's gonna happen. Tony Palacio is a fool. He is funny. But all right.
What? How old is Burrows again? Is he 30? He's in his upper 30s, right?
No,
Like,
no,
no,
he's gonna
no.
be earlier 30s.
I was thinking like maybe like 35ish.
I
When I
don't
say
know.
upper, then like 35. I'm 30.
Oh yeah.
I can look it up real quick.
So
The
But
reason
yeah.
I say is because like, could we see like the first ever, like, I don't want to say first ever because that wouldn't be, but like, could we see like a competitive 40-year-old man on the
I
world
mean,
team?
he could. If anybody could do it, it'd be him.
It'd be him.
So, all right, what do you think about Dake's injury? Waiting on Derringer, like, you know, is this how much does this injury affect Dake? Because we
Like
thought Dake was
30.
going to be
I was thinking he was
unstoppable. I thought he was going to go down to Burrow's weight this year. Obviously, the injury kept him from going
Yeah.
down to Burrow's weight this year. Does this affect his run for next year? Heck, does the injury affect David Taylor's run for next year? Like,
Well, for David Taylor, obviously, because what his injury is significant. I mean, it's nothing that's like minor. And I'm not saying, you know, Dake's is.
I'm just
minor,
like,
but-
wow, like all the setup for everything this
Yeah.
year was all set up for next year's
And
stuff,
then,
and it's
yeah.
just like complete and wonder and awe of what's going on with
Well,
everything.
it's going to make it a little more interesting next year, though, because now we've got more questions. We're going to have a little bit more action going, probably.
Yep.
So, but you think about it, like David Taylor's, his injury realistically could play a part next year, just because it is dangerous. Although I've been watching him on Instagram and all that, you know, his rehab, it's ridiculous. But you know, when you mess up something in your knee, there's always uncertainty. There's always going to be that. I mean, you know, some people bounce back, and then some people are never the same.
Yeah.
And so we got to see what. You know, we got to see what's with him, because even with like Spencer Lee came back, was fine, but there's always that question.
Yeah.
And with Dake, what was his injury again? Was it his neck?
I see. That's the thing. I don't know what his injury was. Like these
Yeah.
people are so good at like, you know, not saying what injuries
Yeah.
are, which I get. Like, I mean, you're in a sport where you don't want somebody to know what you've had
Yeah.
hurt. So I get it. But at the same time, it almost would be kind of cool, like to get the weekly report like they do in
Yeah.
football season. Like,
Absolutely.
so and so is going to be questionable this week with an high ankle sprain. You know, hopefully
But
back
yeah,
in
for
2
Dake,
weeks. You know,
depending on what it is,
Yeah,
and they
that's
may have
just
already
too
released
much,
it.
yeah.
It's just so. I mean, could his play a part? I don't think his will play nearly as much of a part as David Taylor's. Obviously, I
Yeah.
think that this could be a good thing for Dake. One, it gives him maybe a little more time to start. You know, I guess like reevaluating, kind of motivating him for next year.
Yeah.
Giving him maybe he can go ahead and start trying to get down to that weight
Yeah.
if he feels the need to, just to get used to being there, and like, because he's all about, like we were talking about earlier, all about that functional lifting and
functional
mobility.
patterns.
Yeah,
Is that what-
functional patterns.
Yeah.
So. Maybe he goes ahead and drops a
Okay.
little bit of weight to
I want
start.
to try that red screen and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I might try it.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? I mean, my phone has the capability of doing it, so.
I'd have to look up how to do it. I mean, it's one of those things. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
probably an easy setting, but
So for Dake, I mean, I don't see it being as big an issue for Dake, but DT, I'm gonna be a little cautious of, just like I said, because you never know when it comes to knees. Knees are crazy things. You know, I'm 24 and mine pop and crack all the time. So
I told you mine was hurting this morning
Yeah.
while we were running. I was like,
yeah, mine were hurting when we were going uphill, and it wasn't really my knees. It was more or less my quads, because that's a steep hill.
It was. So,
Yeah.
but all right. So moving on then. You got your one that we'll talk about here in a second.
Yep.
After that, I've got some other ideas for some casts that I wanted to do. I don't know if we'll get into that now or not. But so Michigan recruit. Signs with Michigan and
Gage Garcia.
he's going as a dual sport athlete.
Yeah.
Now, funnily enough, you said you don't like it.
I don't know. One, I think it's cool for the sport, and I think it's cool. It's like, that's a cool story. It gives people to look up to. But when you go to a big university like that, and you're especially when you're in the Big Ten, so that's like the top in, one of the top in football, and it's the top in wrestling. Um, I feel like if you're going in there and you're splitting time, you're not able to focus all on one. Therefore, I feel like it's going to hinder his career. Like, because there's always going to be that unanswered question of like, what if he put more focus in football, or what if he put more focus in
Now,
wrestling?
do you think it's awesome because the nature of the physicality of the two sports? Unlike last year's
Yeah.
Heisman Trophy winner, it was baseball and football.
Yeah, which
And
baseball
he was
is super easy on the body.
and he was a quarterback. So
Yeah.
ideally, hopefully, he doesn't get. He was not like a running back or
I think he
some,
might be like a safety or defensive
you know,
back.
so where he
something.
hopefully wasn't getting hit
Yeah.
a whole lot too. So maybe like there was that safety factor. So I
Yeah.
think in your case, it's the combination of the two sports in
And
the
absolutely, yeah.
division with which they're at.
Yeah, you're in
Okay.
such a high competitive division.
Because
So
I
it's-
do believe that, you know, and we've talked about this before, you're with me on the sense of like, be a multiple sport athlete.
Yeah,
Don't
absolutely,
specialize,
100%.
especially early on. Do
But
not
I feel there's a
specialize.
limit. There's a point
But
where
when
you
you
have to decide.
get to, yeah, no, that's a fair decision, and I would say for the young man, go for
Yeah.
it, okay. But that being said, I remember myself, like, I mean, I did a lot of different sports. I let my kids pick a lot of different things. We're going to be well-rounded individuals and
Yeah.
well-rounded athletes. And I remember getting into high school and having this discussion with my dad. Like, I played soccer and I wrestled, and I had some different issues with different things. But I think he was like, you know, you can continue to be good
Yeah.
at both,
great
or
at
you
one.
can focus on one and like try
Yeah.
to like put all your energy into it. And that was never proposed to me until high school.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it was like before it's just do whichever, you know, I mean, he taught me how to like dribble a basketball, he taught me, you know, I mean, did all different stuff. So like I think for sure never specialize at a young age, but I do think there's a point in time when you can make choices, whether it be now, I don't even think it should be done your freshman year of high school because high school athletics are completely different than
Absolutely.
middle school. So you have to like also see like there are a lot of people that are like, well, I'm just gonna play football next year. Like, dude, you've never even been to a high school football practice. You've only been to middle school and like Pee Wee and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So or like maybe you really might enjoy the high school wrestling room, you know, or the track field or whichever. So I would say to all listening, anybody, like continue to be a multiple sport athlete, continue to do different things, continue to be
Yeah.
well rounded.
Well,
Not
I mean,
just
you got,
beside this, but not just well-rounded athlete, but be a
Shanquez,
well-rounded person. Shanquez, yeah, and went and ran track in
Yeah.
college, still in college. You know, Devin was just talking about the other day. He was like, I miss Shanquez, Shawnee Sandwich is what he used to call him. So, you know, so continue to do those things. Be well-rounded. Be not just a well-rounded athlete, but be a well-rounded person
Yeah.
too. Expose yourself to things.
Absolutely.
Be good people. Don't be.
And see,
buttheads.
it's and you know, just kind of to backtrack on that, like someone was telling me that the reason it might have been done was for like publicity because like Michigan said, hey, we got a two-sport athlete because no one
I
else
mean, that's
wanted it.
cool. You know?
And if that's the case, like, I just feel, and if that's the case, like if it's just because they wanted to say, hey, we've got a two-sport athlete, I'd be a little mad for the wrestling team because it's like, well, we just gave up a scholarship spot, possibly because we now
Maybe
have,
it could be a good thing. Maybe they're like, "Hey, football's giving you enough money. We can save money, give it to somebody
Yeah,
else."
I mean,
I
it
don't
could
know.
be that.
I don't know how.
And there's a few things it doesn't really necessarily sit right with me. I'm happy for him. I'm gonna be excited. I'm gonna be a fan. Obviously, I'm not gonna like cheer against him. I just feel that when it gets to, you know, the top tier level, like with the Big Tens and wrestling and also football,
Yeah.
I don't think you can split time.
I mean, there's a level of I get what you're saying because there's a level when you get to that of like daggum, if you're not 100% on it, I don't want to see somebody getting hurt doing something.
True story. I say that, but then again, Kyle Dake is at the top level in wrestling and also, what is that game?
Spike ball.
Spike ball. I mean, so it can be done.
It can be done.
It can be
Spike
done.
ball. I love
Maybe
spike
that's
ball.
how he got his injury. He just didn't want to release that.
Yeah, I love spike ball.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
It is fun.
We're about to go off in a whole other world.
Try not to. Let's reel it back as best we can, I guess. But like,
God.
the spike ball is fun. Yeah.
I'm like bouncing now, like in my head, like I can feel
Yeah.
it. Like it's like ding 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 ding.
It's
Where
right
are
there. It's like knocking on the
It's
door.
like, where are we going? Where are we going?
It's kind of like Big Bang Theory.
It was so
Knock
messed
on the
up.
door.
Hmm.
You know how Sheldon will knock on the door?
Penny,
Penny.
penny,
Penny.
penny.
Yeah, like that. Exactly. That's.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I mean, so two sports athlete can win. But
Yeah. So,
no, but I'm not a big fan of that.
no, fair enough. Fair enough. Cool
And then
deal.
Ben Askren wrestled this weekend. Well, fights this weekend.
Yes, and I love the thing. Whoa, no, I need to keep those in order. Yes. Huh? And you don't go highlighting things because I'll be like, what did I highlight? And why did I highlight that? So, I told you that the funniest thing, the leaked leaked footage of Ben Askren's training.
The Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell shirtless, like pulling it out. Hilarious.
Did you hear Chael Sonnen? So when Chael Sonnen retired, did you hear what he said he was going to do though? He talked about, he's like, well, I'm probably not going to fight again. And I'll have to send you his interview. It's amazing. His retirement interview, he talked about he legitimately thought he was going to beat Lyoto Machida, and he said, I had a plan. I was going to call it Ryan Bader, and we were going to fight for the title. Okay. And that was his
talking about man with the plan, goal. Yes. Rewind all the way back to the first 15 minutes. Like he's one that
was his plan.
He always has that end intact, and you can see on how he's done his entire career how he does everything. There's that end task there.
And he said, and then he said there was a. He's like, I got out there, and then Lyoto started beating me in positions that he shouldn't have been beating me in. Like I was on bottom instead of being on top of him, and he's like, I could have got up, but I just didn't. And he's like, and I feel like that we all have a finite amount of toughness in us. And he's like,
I see.
And he's like, I think I might have used all mine up. And he's like, I just don't think it's fair to keep on going. He's like, if I've used all my toughness,
it's not fair to me. I mean, it's not fair to yourself and your family.
He's like, I promised my dad something. He never said what that promise was, but he was just like, he's like, I genuinely feel like I've used up all my toughness. And he's like, there's no need to come out here if I'm not gonna. If I'm not feeling 100%,
if you can't give it your all, I mean, there's a point, especially in that career, of like, it's not fair to yourself. It's not fair to your family because of the danger factor.
And it's crazy because that's also coming from Chael Sonnen, a guy who's known for trash talk. But he
baddest man on the planet, according to
he retired undefeated and undisputed, even though he lost the last match. So, but it was
funny.
But what he did say, though, something I thought was interesting. He said he was going to defend his super fight title. Like he does grappling still. And I was sitting here thinking, I was like, ooh. I know there was talk of maybe him, like he was talking about Final X, and like there was a little beef between him and some people. And I was like, what if he does a Final X? What if he throws on that single one more time?
Go to that and go watch it off.
Because he's a huge advocate for wrestling.
Oh yeah, he is.
He wrestled in Oregon, and so I mean, I started thinking about that. I was like, man, that's kind of cool because not only does it open the world for grappling and like wrestling and all that, but it's like you have a big name retiring from a gigantic sport, and you know what? But I'm gonna stick with this,
Yep.
And I was like, that's gonna pull in more people. Like just imagine him and Ben Askren at Final X next year, or something. Like kind of like a celebrity type match, because both guys are probably not gonna compete with a Jordan Burroughs, obviously.
Yeah.
And just imagine that matchup. The trash talk between that matchup would be hilarious.
Oh gosh,
it would be amazing. It'd be worth the price of the tickets alone. Just to hear them banter back and forth.
It would be.
Especially because they're friendly. They're friends with each other, and I think that might be honestly.
Did you see the?
I think that might be the setup because Ben Askren tweeted something out after he lost.
Harry, don't mess with that, buddy.
Like Ben Askren tweeted about the Machida and Chael fight. He said, "Who let these two amateurs in the ring?" And I'm thinking maybe he's doing it like friendly banter, but also like. Maybe set up a Final X battle.
It'd be cool. Or beat the streets like they did.
Or not Final X, beat the streets. Yeah, beat the streets is what I'm talking about. I don't know
why
I
kept saying Final
X.
Did you see like the beat the streets? Henry, don't mess with it, okay?
I kept saying Final X. Beat the streets is what I was meaning to say.
Beat the streets like that post interview with like Burroughs and Askren together. Like, just come on in here, and they were talking about it. And that. Like, at first I was like a little upset with...
See, why didn't you correct me on that? I said like Final X 12 times.
Look, I got distracted over here, alright? It's not my fault.
You got your papers and the highlighter and the little kid over there, I understand.
Yeah, like, I was like, oh god.
Panic.
So, but like, at first I was mad at Burroughs for kind of like how he did Askren. And then after watching it, I'm like, okay, that's just, you can't help it. That's just the way it is. And like, the banter was great and everything was good. Henry, stop that now. I want you to break that one, okay? So... No. That's my
sport. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, beat the streets. It'd be a cool matchup. I mean,
it would be. I think it would be cool. I think it'd be great. It'd be fun to have happen. So, some other stuff I was thinking I was going to get into with some subcasts. Was thinking about some different things. Kind of just a refresher off of again like yesterday's post. Kind of the goal setting. Some of the goal setting. Putting things out there, just using vulnerability. Like you got to be vulnerable in order to grow. There were some things that I mean we've talked about it like, and I've heard it a lot lately, like growth mindset.
Mhm.
You know, we've talked about growth mindset before. We've had like whole little subcasts on that, but heard it again at the institutes I was doing. They're talking about like growth mindset versus closed mindset. You know, just like approaching things as far as education,
Yeah.
and then also a really cool way. And I need to look up and see if I can find it. It was talking. It had again the same verbiage, except it was like I think there was a book like not putting yourself around vampire suckers, like because like basically if you're not in the growth mindset, they're just like life suckers, like those vampire suckers, something like that. They suck the life out of you.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's all kind of cool. It's kind of something that's been hitting along lately, so plan on hitting that up for you guys. But for right now, I think I need to find some grubbage or something before my stomach starts
I'm
going
thinking
again.
about eggs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about some eggs with kind of like pico de gallo in them, and then I'm gonna hit the gym. That sounds delicious.
Yes. So, on that note, we're gonna get ready to we'll end the Facebook feed. Put all this up. We'll have episodes coming to you guys on YouTube and Anchor and all of its platforms that it sends it all out to you from iTunes, Spotify, and everything else. So check it. Sorry, it's been a minute. And
hopefully I can get my other videos uploaded.
yeah,
today
and
too.
then hopefully we get some subcasts going as well. Oh yeah, this was episode 40.
Dude, the big 4-0.
Awesome.
We're over the hill.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Jabs
That
again.
was not
Jabs again. Started at me at the beginning.
No one would have known.
Started at me at the beginning with my paper writing abilities over here.
You still
and,
look like you're like.
and now you're throwing jabs again. That's how we're gonna start and we're gonna end. All right, we're gonna go wrestle now. We're gonna fight. First takedown wins because that's all we got in us right now.
That's all we have in the
All
tank.
right, can you say bye?
Bye.
All right, see you.
Bye bye.